To connect EcoFit fittings with a single-chamber socket to EcoPure pipes, the external thrust resistance is required. You will find a quick start guide on this subject on the thrust resistance packaging. First, measure the socket depth. To guarantee that the fittings and pipes can be displaced, take 10 mm off the measured length in order to obtain the plug-in depth. Then mark the pipe accordingly. Clean the inside of the socket and check the retaining groove using the groove scraper. Insert the seal by forming it into a heart-shaped loop. Use a second loop if necessary. After that, check that the seal is seated correctly and is not protruding over the retaining groove. Next, move the thrust resistance ring and the locking ring with toothed segments onto the pipe spigot end. In doing so, the angled side of the locking ring must face toward the thrust resistance ring. Now fit the socket clamp of the installation device. Make sure that the short sides of the bracket are resting on the front face of the socket. Tighten the locking bolt by hand. Loosely fit the spigot clamp onto the pipe spigot end and coat the spigot and seal all the way around with lubricant approved for drinking water. Now move the fitting onto the spigot end and connect the spigot clamp and socket clamp with each other. Move the loose spigot clamp to the correct position and firmly tighten. Use the open-end wrenches of the installation device to pull the push-in socket joints together until the marking line on the spigot end is flush with the front face of the socket. No backward movement is required for the external thrust resistance. Finally, return the locking ring with toothed segments and the thrust resistance ring to the front face of the socket and fit the clip bolts. Use a tightening torque of 120 Newton-meters to tighten the clip bolts, alternating between bolts on opposite sides. Then the external thrust resistance is activated. Once the fitting has been fitted in the trench, it can be displaced by up to 3 degrees from the pipe axis if required.